Christian, nice to meet you, and thank you for being on the Bob's Your Uncle podcast. You are an American by choice and a self-described coach, entrepreneur, public speaker, trainer, a brand grower, so much more. Let's start there if you don't mind. You were born in Russia, but moved as an infant with your family to South America. You grew up in what country?
I grew up in Chile, Germany, Africa, and then back to Russia when I was a teenager.
A wide range. Do you
A
have
wide
mixed
range, yeah,
do
yeah.
you have mixed loyalties in the World Cup matches?
You know what? I I don't actually. I've always rooted for Brazil for whatever reason my whole life. And the reason I root for them is because they just play the game beautifully, and I appreciate a beautiful game.
That's what it's called. Do you have mixed loyalties in political considerations?
Uh, I don't. I am pretty much America. America first. Not only because I live here, but because I believe in the ideals that built this country, and I consider myself blessed to be a citizen, to be an immigrant here, and to benefit from all of the things that people sacrifice so much to build.
You also helped Boris Yeltsin get elected to government after you returned as a teenager to Russia. How
I
did
did.
that happen?
Well, these were wild times. I, a little bit of the backstory. I came back, finished high school, went to college, got a master's degree in economics, but I was musical my whole life. And the Soviet Union, I grew up basically in the sort of the last decade of the Soviet Union. So came back 84, it collapsed in 91. And so I saw the whole thing basically collapse slowly and then rapidly. And before it collapsed, there was no chance I could use my musical talent to get anywhere because it was all government
Hmm.
run, right, top down. But then after it collapsed, I was already working in sort of my chosen profession as an economist. And I realized, okay, you know what? All of a sudden, we have this free market in the truest free form. Let me give it a try. So, so that's what happened. And then within a year, I was on national television. Sort of fast forward a few years from that, and I was basically, sold millions of albums, had videos, radio, TV across 15 countries. I was touring, and Boris Yeltsin was trying to get reelected, and the communists were coming back on the wave of discontent with all this instability that comes from basically starting over, right, as a country. And um, I had a hit at the time, a number one hit called Our Generation, and it was just massive. And it was basically thematically aligned with with basically investing in the future rather than going back to the past. So his team used my music, my videos. I campaigned for him because I really truly believed, that democracy is the way. So that's the story.
Thank you. Great story. Uh, Economically, what's your number one fear in these days?
You mean here for us living in the United States?
Well, the world is one big domino. I don't think I don't think Japan can come and go without touching Brazil, without touching India, without touching
Oh, you
USA.
mean on a macroeconomic sort of level? I think AI I mean, it's not even a fear; it's just a reality. Anytime there's some sort of technological revolution, there's a period of chaos, right? And you just don't know exactly how it's going to go. So that's already here, basically. So, and it's going to accelerate in the next couple of years. So that's just the reality we need to deal with. But it's just the nature of things.
Can you help fix that?
I mean, it's uncomplicated. I think being able to master AI and be the person who is masterful in whatever space you're in
Hmm.
using AI is like lowest hanging fruit, right? People who don't know AI are going to be end up working for the people who do use AI. That's basically the bottom line, right? And I would say that part of the reason why I do personal brand strategy for people now is because that's another way to sort of AI proof the future for yourself. Is that people trust people. People
Hmm.
don't people don't trust corporations, people don't trust machines, people trust people. And if you are able to become visible to a broader audience um, using the technology we have today, which is incredible, that's the best way to economically future-proof yourself, because there's a way to basically create something that's very specifically offered only by you, your unique edge, a way to build a brand, a way to monetize it, a way to basically become a category of one and have the freedom, the choices, and the uplift economically from that, rather than becoming a commodity, right? Which is that's the danger of the current situation, just like it was in the industrial age.
It is a duplication of that, isn't it? You
Yes, it
have
is.
you have 10,000 subscribers or more to your platforms, especially Substack. Tell me about your coaching of others to make them successful, as you say, in brand management and public speaking. How did that begin for you?
It was a full circle thing actually, because what happened to me when I was at the peak of my music career is that I was objectively in the sort of 0.1% of people in my space, right? If you're selling millions of albums, that's where you are. And then there were areas of my life where I had no game, I was terrible at. And that undermined that huge advantage that I had. And that's sort of the reality for most high performers. People that are extraordinarily good at what they do, they usually have some flat sides. And if you want to be good at what you do and remove those flat sides, it's better to have to work side by side, shoulder to shoulder with somebody who can compensate those, can look over your shoulder and train you up in your vulnerabilities, your flat sides, and give you much more of an advantage in life. And so that's what happened to me. I just met a guy who was my first mentor, and he basically modeled this mentor-mentee kind of relationship for me, and it had such a huge impact in my life that over time I never stopped getting new and new mentors, so, and I still do. So I still have several people in my life that I try to communicate with, all of them weekly. um, and that's carried me so much further than I thought it would be possible. So eventually I realized, okay, I've benefited from this. I know what it feels to be a high performer from the inside out. I'm a high performer, and I'm pretty good at helping people. That's always another pattern, right? It's so across continents, across even the ventures that I've been pursuing, which was several. I've always sort of attracted a certain type of people who just came to me for advice, for mentorship, for guidance. And eventually, I think it was just the season. The season was right for me to make it official and to create this essentially. It's not really even a coaching program. It's a coaching program, a strategy company, and a media company all in one.
Hmm. It's complex. You
Yeah.
need a lot of mentors. Uh, who particularly today inspires you?
Oh, I have several people. I have a buddy who runs a family office. He's in finance. And for example, he's an extraordinary example of balancing the high stakes people he's around, understanding them, empathizing with them, and being very, very relational. I've learned so much from him. And at the same time, he's a great dad. And like I've watched literally his calendar, his patterns. How much time does it take to do this, to do that? How does he talk to people? How does he build relationships? So that's just one of them, and I have several of those.
Tell me, if you don't mind, what frustrates you about the world, perhaps America particularly?
Oh, in America, I have the frustration that most first generation immigrants have of America. And the frustration is very simply this. the person who sees just how much of an advantage living here is will suck the life out of it, will invest, will give back, will be passionate, will be driven. A person who has gotten it as an inheritance usually underestimates and undervalues what they have, right? So to me, it's mind-blowing how undermotivated people are, underdriven people are that have all of these advantages that I didn't have growing up, you know? And especially in the space of personal branding, where I go, you live in a free society. You can build whatever you want, and yet you choose to sort of blend in, be a cog in a machine where you can be anyone. This is the country of you can be anyone. Why don't you build a brand? Why don't you do the work? Why don't you fill that skill gap and reach for the stars? It's shocking to me that you don't,
Mm.
because you have everything. You have the education, you have the background, you have the language, the cultural language. You fit in here. You can do so much with that. And it's shocking to me how many people underestimate what they can do.
Well, it's risk,
It is, yeah.
and that's the tough part. Let me ask you, did you grow up in a particular religion? And is that
No, no, it's the opposite. I was an atheistic communist parents. That's it.
and so that's now in the past. Tell me about the tribe in Austin, Texas, and what role you play there.
Well, I planted that church 13 years ago, but I've been doing bivocational ministry work for 28 years, something like that. I've been a pastor and an entrepreneur at the same time, most of that time. And I became a Christian at the peak of my career, and it just changed me so profoundly from the inside out that I just th said, look, this is more valuable than any other thing that I can give to people. So I'm going to dedicate definitely a good portion of my life and my energy, my talent, and my abilities to help people have a spiritual journey.
When you say bivocational, that's a term that I understand, but not my listeners. They may not.
Yeah.
What does
Yeah.
that mean?
It's basically you can be a pastor and have a business or two businesses sometimes or three businesses sometimes. In my case, I have a nonprofit and a couple of businesses. So it's not an easy path, to be honest with you. And actually, by the way, I've transitioned out of leading a church almost a year ago, actually, almost exactly a year ago. And but it was the first time I've done it because I just realized I need to focus this time. It's the bane of my existence, not the ability to not focus on one thing.
Hmm. We self-distract.
Yeah,
Would
yeah.
you prefer on any given day to play music and sing quietly and privately there in your studio to the Lord, or would you prefer to lead a seminar for 500 CEOs?
I think I would prefer to lead a seminar for 500 CEOs. And the reason for that, I'm an actual introvert, right? Um, and so I have a very sort of very deliberate, very intentional contemplative practice and creative process, all of those things. So I have so much of that already, and it's not optional, right? Um, so to me, having an opportunity to impact people, it's just gives me a lot of joy. So it's the second thing, yeah.
Tell me, because you just mentioned it, what's your 20-minute morning routine and those three practices that set your day in proper motion?
Well, it's basically you move, you meditate, um, and you master a new skill. So those are the three M's, right? So moving, it's basically walking, running, lifting, moving, right? You have to exercise your body every week. It activates you. It activates you actually way beyond the muscles. It activates the cognitive part of you, the creative part of you as well. So that's non-negotiable. Meditate, it could be prayer, it could be listening to music, to worship music, listening to scripture. It could be meditation, and then master a new skill. Every single day, I listen to a podcast or read a book about something I want to get better at. And those three things combined happened in my life every single day, like with no exception. And it's an incredible combo. Those things, everybody knows about those things. It's it's very few people that I see that do all three in combination, and it's fascinating how much of a force multiplier those things are if they're combined together.
Christian, do you have hope that the world will one day be a better place in your lifetime, even in the next 10 years? And if so, on what do you base that?
I think it is a better place already. I mean, we live in the most prosperous time in the history of humanity. That's objectively true. We live in the most peaceful time in the history of humanity. That's also objectively true. Like the amount of people involved, like the amount of armed conflicts going on, things like that are at the all-time low. It's a great time to be alive. And when we see sort of this chaos, the whatever, political division, it's always been like that. We just feel it today. We feel it today in a particular because it touches us, right? It's people that are dysfunctional, people that fight, people to do bad things, etc. It's in the present that we feel threatened by it. But the truth is, the political climate has never been this sort of, you know, everybody gets along, everybody agrees on everything. It's just never been the case, especially in turning times in history where there's some sort of shift happening either technologically or economically, things like that. There's always almost like a peak of that, but it goes down and then it goes back up.
Tell me about XPonential. What is that?
Well, the Exponential is my personal brand strategy company, and we the word exponential is this idea that one person can have this multiplying effect in everything, income, in impact. And how do we learn how to do that? And more, I mean, if we had even a tiniest percentage of people build personal brands and understand how to leverage and how to become exponential, I mean, that would be a better world right away. I mean, there's so much human potential just wasted, you know, just not, they're invisible. I mean, brilliant people who do brilliant work. And the only people who know how amazing those people are the people in the room, maybe at the highest level in the industry, for example. Like you're like a regional and industry-wide celebrity. But the world has 8 billion people in it, right? You can do so much more. You can do so much across industries. And the gap to get there is just a few skills, basically, is understanding what the technology is, being motivated, believing that you have something to offer, knowing that there's an edge that you have that nobody else has, and then creating content and building your brand. More people should do it. I think everybody should do it. I would say, I would say it is a nice to have now. It's a must have tomorrow.
Hmm.
It's not optional, actually.
We are going to have a brand, even if it's lousy. We are going to communicate that brand, even if we're not very good at it. We're going to
Yep.
reach, as you say, the room. It could be the house. It could be the yard. It could be the neighborhood. We're gonna touch people for good or
Yes.
for ill. So what you want to do, exponential. I was a mathematics teacher. I know what this is. And it's explosive, and I like that. How can
Yeah.
people reach you and keep learning from and being in touch with you?
Oh, they can just Google me, Christian Ray Flores, and they'll see there's a newsletter that goes out every week, christianrayflores.com. And if you want to learn more, go to exponential.life. Exponential, it's spelled without an E. It starts with an X. Exponential.life is sort of the website for the company. And we do really cool stuff every month. We do webinars, we do challenges and things like that. So you can experience things in person with your particular thing that you want to build with us quite easily, actually, if you want to just look it up and sign up.
X without an E, ponential. Yesterday, as we record this on Monday, yesterday was Father's Day, and you have three beautiful daughters. Did you have a good day?
Yes, they got me. I asked for a brunch specifically at home. to not be out there, but to be at home because we can talk and it's quiet. And I asked for crepes. So they got we have a place nearby called Crepe Crazy, and everybody ordered their favorite crepe, and they brought it in, and we had this wonderful brunch. And the tradition is we eat good food and we share about the person we're trying to celebrate. So two of my daughters, my third one is a little bit far. She couldn't be there. She sent me a nice text. But two of my daughters and my niece was there. So all of them uh, wrote cards, very specific, very intentional cards of why they like me. And that's nice to be
You
celebrated.
can't beat that. I love it.
Yeah.
And you're in Texas, right?
I'm in Austin, Texas,
Yeah,
correct.
yeah. And so, we all have to do
Yeah.
whatever that
Yeah.
is.
Hook 'em horns. Yeah.
Hook 'em horns. All right. Well, tell me, what final words would you like to share with the global Bob's Your Uncle audience?
I would say don't settle. You're brilliant. Let your brilliance shine. Don't settle. Just because it's hard to learn the skills that get you there, that's not an excuse. You have a responsibility. God gave you your gifts, the abilities. You have a responsibility. Let your light shine.
Beautiful. That's so great. Christian, I am delighted to have met you. I'm glad your offsider sent me a note and said, "Hey, don't forget this guy." And I'm really grateful. We've been doing this podcast for about 4 years, and I just love it when I get to meet people of significance. Everybody has significance,
Of course.
um, of significance that others might notice. And you're just a champion for the Lord and a champion for all these things that you represent. I really appreciate your time and wish God's good blessings on you this summer in Texas. Yikes, that's not easy.
It's actually great for me. I love heat. I've spent 20 years in the snow. I can take a lot of heat and be very happy.
In whatever weather we have, you're going to keep making a difference, and I appreciate your time. Shalom to you.
Shalom to you as well, Bob. Thank you.